Hi there, this is Jennifer Carter with Newport This Week, and I am here today with Rachel Prendergast from RaNew Salon. How are you, Rachel?
I'm good, Jen. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to chat a little bit with some small businesses around town to see how things have been going. So just kind of checking in. Can you tell me, I guess, first of all, to tell our audience, how long have you been in Newport for?
I've lived in Newport since I was 13. I moved here from Tennessee, went to Rogers, went to the cosmetology program there. Have been doing hair on the island for 26 years since right out of school.
Wow, that's a long time. And how long have you had RaNew? I feel like you guys just had a big anniversary.
10. This is our 10th year, and since we couldn't have a big party, we're just going to celebrate all year. So
Fantastic.
10th year.
I love it. That is
Yeah.
great. That's quite the milestone and quite the year for the milestone, I would say.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was fitting that the 10th year should fall on COVID, so that, the people who couldn't have a wedding and couldn't have parties and everything, we couldn't have one either. So it was good.
We're in it together. I guess.
Yes, exactly.
I guess, can you tell me some of the things that you've seen this year, some personal and business struggles that you've seen with your business with COVID?
Sure. I don't really know where to start, but I never thought my business could survive 2 weeks being closed when initially the shutdown was supposed to be. I was like, that's just not possible. And to have survived 10 weeks, I still kind of can't believe that. It was really weird to be home that much. My kids have never seen me sit that much. I definitely figured out that I get more energy by going to work and talking to my clients and having my staff near me. That's where I get my energy from. So when I was off, I was just like, a very sloth-like, very not my normal self.
Yeah. So were you able to get any grants or loans that have helped your business, and like, how was that process for you?
If it weren't for two things, the grants, the governor rolled out a bridge loan, which actually arrived in our bank account before the EIDL grant portion, and that was rent money right away. So I watched Gina every single day like it was my job. And I know it brought a lot of people stress to watch her, but for me, I wanted to know, I wanted to hear what our industry was specifically going to need to do. So I watched her every day. We had lunch. We made it a family thing. Amber and I were sitting there watching Gina as much as we could. And yeah, the grants, honestly, it saved us. I was nervous. I didn't go for PPP right away because it just seemed like a lot of paperwork, a lot of loopholes, and I'm not a paperwork girl. I'm a hairdresser. So I really waited on that one. And then I also had a flood happen my day one of reopening. So literally June 1st, a major flood happened from the apartment above my business. So we did get insurance money. So between the grants and insurance money, and clients being so supportive, and that's what's kept us going for sure.
Yeah.
Because we have a high overhead in Newport. You have a high rent. So
yeah, I hear that from everybody. I mean, my sister owns a restaurant in town, and I feel like someday, I think her husband thinks, they wake up every day losing money right now. And it's a really challenging time for a lot of people. Were there any surprises that you saw with that PPP loan grant situation that you weren't expecting, or was it completely smooth?
So the EIDL, that initial, what was supposed to be $10,000, up to, so it was $1,000 per employee. It was really surprising to me that there was no communication. So you apply for that grant, a loan. I knew right away I was not going to go for the loan portion, but I thought if there's a grant, I'll take it. Like, why not? That would kind of be stupid, Rachel, not to do that. And that the lack of communication on that was very surprising to me. The bridge loan through RI Commerce, amazing communication, one-on-one, awesome. The Reopen RI grant, once you got a caseworker, amazing. They were so helpful, just really talked me through everything. But then I did talk to a trusted mentor of mine, and I did go for the PPP at the end because you're hearing that staff can't afford to come off of unemployment with the extra 600 they were getting, with us worried that clients weren't going to be feeling like they should come into a salon, like it was the right choice for them to make. I didn't know how busy we were going to be. So I said, let's get the PPP, and that will help us. I can pay the girls a little extra because we might be doing less clients, and I know we were going to be working harder and really just like cleaning extra and everything. So that was all fine and good. A few weeks ago, I found out that EIDL, so I personally got $9,000, and I got PPP. I didn't realize, and I know it was in the fine print, I found out later, but I know I can't be the only one who was surprised by this. Because they came from the same organization, if you got that PPP, you have to now pay back the EIDL grant portion. So that was just a surprise. And there's no one to blame. It's going to be fine. The monthly payment isn't crazy, but I just think if they had taken their money back off the top, we would have made do with whatever we got for the PPP. Then they would have been paid back, and you wouldn't be coming out of small business right now going into winter. I can imagine a lot of restaurants must have got the full $10,000. They're coming into, because they had that many employees, they're coming into winter, they're down on capacity. And I thought, if this is something that I'm dealing with as a small business, I can't imagine what restaurants and people who just are not able to run their business at nearly the capacity that I'm even fortunate enough to run my business at, what they're dealing with. I just don't think that was handled right. And I wish I had paid better attention to that.
Yeah.
Because I would have just held on to it as also myself. I would have just held on to it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I felt very fortunate to be able to, when the bridge loan came due, which was June 1st, and that was initially, Gina, the RI Commerce ran that, and that was a $5,000 grant. And they had that money to me in 3 days. And that was rent in April. And that to me was amazing and saved us. When that bill came due, I wrote them a note on there, and I just told them I felt very fortunate that as a small business, I could even pay that back because they saved me in April. And the summer was good to us, better than we thought it was going to be to us, because I think clients were so happy to be able to do one normal thing when they can't do so many things. I can go to the salon, I can see my girls, so I felt fortunate to be able to pay that back.
Yeah. So you found that your customers have been coming in and supporting your business throughout this, and you haven't seen a huge decline?
Not a huge decline. I'm not really a numbers person. I'm not really like, oh, this is what January of last year looked like or anything, but I can tell. You just look at how booked you are and how not booked you are. Clients, definitely, we have found ways to meet them. We were doing porch haircuts. We were doing outside at their houses once we could. Once June 1st happened, we have a private suite. We were doing hair where they could just come in this door where they saw no one else except for their stylist. And maybe they needed a manicure. Maybe they needed a pedicure. Maybe they needed their color put on. I've literally put color on clients in that room and sent them home because they did not want, they're taking care of elderly parents. They didn't want to expose themselves to any extra person. So we just tried to meet them where they were at. We put up dividers in the salon initially. We ended up taking those down because we had used shower curtains and apparently they're a fire hazard. So I didn't want to buy the dividers because I know a lot of restaurants need them. It's an expense. It's a huge expense. So I moved my stations farther apart from each other. I've never been so grateful for a lot of square footage at our Thames Street location, and a small staff. And our barbershop location isn't a small spot. I mean, it isn't a huge space, but with one person working at one time, there's never overcrowding. So we never had to really calculate that square footage aspect that a lot of businesses are having to do. We do have clients wait in their car so that they're not passing each other, coming in and out of the door. We want to get the person checked out and rebooked and then let the new client come in. Everything's been cleaned and, we just try to keep them safe and they feel good.
Yeah.
Which I feel very fortunate for.
Yeah. I think some of the things people are learning, I know for my own business, I've learned a lot. Some things I'll continue and some things, well, that didn't go as well, right? But some of those things that
Right.
I've learned are going to carry forward once this is over. I mean, I will be so glad when this is over, like I think like everybody, but I've definitely learned some significant lessons that I've had to quickly improve certain things to be able to meet the needs of the clients I do have left right now. And that's been super helpful. It's almost like some of the silver lining that you see is that, what are some of the other things that you've seen as far as, silver linings with this pandemic, in your business with your customers, maybe things you've heard from your customers?
Oh gosh, silver lining for me personally was, and it still is, it's just changed my mindset, like of, I don't need to be as rushed as I was before. I really enjoy the pace in the salon right now. Like I said, we're busy, but it's a different busy than a lot of people waiting in the waiting room. And I like the pace. I like we book a little bit more time for each client so that we built in that cleaning time. And I love it because it really gives me time to sit and talk with people. I told my staff right off the bat, we need to do this because people haven't talked to us in 10 weeks. They have a lot of stories to tell us, and we have a lot of stories to tell them. Like, they're our friends. I've been doing clients for 25 years now. So we need to catch up. And that's been the great part because, again, without the support of our clients, it just wouldn't have been possible. And I wouldn't have even wanted to do it. It brought my staff closer. We stayed connected, just a text thread and some Zoom chats and some things on social media we all came together. If it weren't for the staff that I have right now, Jen, I could make a lot more money if I just rented a chair somewhere, and I just could. I wouldn't have the rent, but every time I had that thought of, hey, maybe you're not staying open. Hey, I don't know. Like, maybe you need to find a smaller spot. Something would happen where I'm just so grateful for the staff that I have, for the clients that I have. I love my location, I really do. So, and I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that 10 years ago. So, it showed me that I really do better with, working around positive, fun girls. So,
Yeah.
But going forward, I just hope to maintain that pace, that just better, calmer energy.
Yeah, I think I've seen some of those same things in my business too. The calmer. I've had to schedule things so that people are not seeing as many people when they come in and out, and it's been nice to spend a little more time. Like, I'm used to being very, very, very rushed with school pictures. I mean, you're seeing tons and tons of kids really fast.
Yeah.
And when I did things in my office, I was able to schedule them so that there was never more than a couple kids at a time, and I could spend the time to tell them, we'll do this or do that. And it was just a little more relaxed pace. And we had some kids that came in. It's always challenging with some kids with special needs, and it gave me more time to, hey, I know this kid's coming. I'm going to put them at the beginning and I'm going to give them an extra 10 minutes. Whereas at school, I can't do that. I have to just say, well, maybe come back later at lunch, and it's a nice thing to be able to spend the time that you need to and not feel rushed for yourself and for your customers, for sure.
Right.
Let me look at my notes. I guess I feel like I need my notes more than I probably should sometimes.
That's okay.
So you have a fairly small staff right now. Have you seen where the school closures and some of those things have had an impact on your staff, or you've been pretty good with that?
Oh man, just at first, even just with not knowing what daycares we're going to do, I have a mixed staff. I have some moms and I actually, Miss Diane, who's the cosmetology teacher down at Rogers, she works part-time at the salon. So knowing what schools we're doing, I have one mom who has 4 kids. So between daycares and Amber, who's my right hand at the salon, even though she hasn't been able to come back physically into the location, just, having a daycare that you feel safe enough to drop your babies off at. But we found that Amber can do a lot from home, and that we can do a lot at the salon. Now that we've built that extra time in, I can rebook my client. I can ring my client out. I can check the phone, and we have had great receptionists that have been able to pitch it, but Amber's still able to help from behind the scenes. But we just learned that we can be flexible, and I think clients now know they went 10 weeks. So they'll be okay if, okay, something came up, Anya, you know, kids are now homeschooling all at home. She has to stay home today. So they understand. So it's brought a new understanding and appreciation, and you just have to go with it.
Yeah. I feel like I look around and I see the stress on everyone's face, and it's not all the same stress. We all have all these different things with our businesses, but I feel like at the end of the day, and in certain days, I feel like I'm at my wit's end. This is the question that's going to push me over the top, right? But then that evening, I'll think about the fact that, like, I don't know what's behind that question and why that's so important to that person. And yet it's stressful for me for whatever they're asking me to do at this time. I feel like I can't do one more thing, right? But at the end of the day, I don't know what it is that's behind that. And you know what? Maybe I can be a little more understanding the next time, because we're all in this together. It's extremely stressful for everyone. I see it on everyone's faces. I see it on the teachers and the administrators and all the small businesses. I think this has aged me like 10 years. I've learned a lot, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I think we're all in that same situation, especially the small businesses. So anyway, do you have any other comments or things that you'd like to share about your business?
Oh gosh. I think we covered a lot in our notes. You know, just all in all, just so grateful to our community, to my staff, and just all the teachers out there that are working so hard. I get to talk to clients all day long that are dealing with this differently. And it's kind of hard because sometimes it's like, oh, well, this is all bull, and why do we have to do this? And I'm like, man, there are some businesses out there that are jumping through hoops, more hoops than I've had to jump through to stay open, to meet all the guidelines. Those restaurants are getting inspected so many times, and it's so nerve-wracking because you put all this hard work and money into it. So I really love talking to every client because they're all dealing with it so differently, and it's just really helps me keep that perspective of we are all in this in some different way together. And I'm just glad that they can come in and have a little bit of normalcy when they sit in the chair and know, okay, this is something I don't have to worry about. I can just sit here and relax for a minute. You know, I don't know what winter is going to bring, but the question I get asked now is, do you think we're going to get shut down again? Like literally that last maybe 2 conferences ago when everyone was waiting for Gina to say like something, I had so many people asking me, what do you think she's going to do? I'm like, Gina does not call me. I don't know. But I'm not as nervous. I know my business has survived 10 weeks being closed. And I know that I'm fortunate enough that I'm in an industry that clients are going to come back when my doors are open. And I know that that's not the case for everybody. And I know there's so many people who have to go to work at scary, unsafe jobs right now. So if we have to shut down, we'll be okay, because I've just made, since we've been open, I'm just hanging on to whatever I can hang on to, making better business decisions than I used to make. And I don't need to buy every bottle of shampoo out there. And, you know, just so that if we do have to close, I know we're going to be okay, because who knows if there's going to be the money available that was available before, you know, like with unemployment and everything, I want to be able to take care of my staff. So again, just very grateful for a small staff at this time. It's weird how things work out. And you never think you'd be so grateful for a huge space and a small staff, but it works for us, and I'm just gonna roll with it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I mean, I think we're all looking forward to the new year and a fresh start, and hoping that things are on the uphill at this point, right? To a better end of 2021, right? Anyway,
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.